Chiefs Broncos.
Woo.
This one's going to be interesting.
It is.
I think the line's like 11 last time I checked, which was like 2 days ago. So I should probably look that up whenever you're giving me your storyline for this game. But the Chiefs not playing their starters, no reason to. They've clinched number 1 seed. So not only did they get to rest their starters, also they get an extra week to rest overall in general with that number 1 seed. Broncos, there's a ton on the line. They win, they're in. Very simple. If they lose, they could get knocked out if Cincinnati wins, which we will already know the previous day, or Miami. So if there's a situation where, because I believe this game is at the same time as the Miami game.
Mm-hmm.
If Cincinnati loses, Broncos still have everything to play for. It's not like they can scoreboard watch. It's not like they will already know going into this game. So no matter what, we're going to get the best version of the Denver Broncos here going up against the Chiefs backups. And people might go, okay, that should be an easy win for the Broncos. Andy Reid ain't taking the week off.
No.
Steve Spagnuolo ain't taking the week off.
No.
These players that we talk about, these depth players for Cincinnati, for the Kansas City Chiefs, which Brett Veach, people talk about him as one of the best general managers in the NFL because I think that he is building the depth of a team. It always feels like, if somebody goes down for the Chiefs, wow, look at that, another playmaker just sitting on their bench. You can't say that. And then also look at this matchup against the Broncos and think they don't have a chance. I think they do. I think that Vegas is, again, I'll check in a second to see, but I saw the line getting up to 11. I was like, I don't know about that. What do you think about this game?
I'll go straight to my plus factor. Carson Wentz, he's got 1 start against Denver in his career. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 118.7 rating.
Wait, what year was this?
This was in 2017.
Okay, all right. Now you're like the broadcasts that are like, this college hasn't beat this college since 1979. Oh, glad those teams in the 80s really helped me with this contest. Thanks.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just giving you crap.
I know.
10.5. That's the line. The line's 10.5. I just looked at it.
Yeah. So there's that to consider. The plus factor here: Carson Wentz getting his start with the Kansas City Chiefs with the benefit of Andy Reid as his play caller. A fantastic offensive line. I don't know how many starters they're going to sit on the offensive line. We'll see. But it's going to be very, very interesting. And I just think Carson Wentz being a plus factor in week 18 for the Kansas City Chiefs is just hysterical. You see how much that, maybe he has learned from Patrick Mahomes or from that quarterback's room and those coaches and stuff like that. I don't know. But my matchup then that matters though is going to be then on the opposite side, Bo Nix. So how do you do against, like you said, Spags isn't taking the week off. You might be starting some backups along the defense, but that being said, I mean, Bo Nix is still a young player. He's still he had 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions, 115.3 rating in their week 10 meeting between these 2 teams. But he's got some also added incentives to kind of to do well. He has 2 or more touchdown passes in his last in 6 of his past 7, and each of his past 3, and then each of his 5 starts versus the division, if you really want to kind of break this down on how Bo Nix has done within the AFC West. And he needs 2 touchdown passes to tie Baker Mayfield for the second most touchdown passes ever by a rookie behind only Justin Herbert. So there's some fun little things that Bo Nix can do in this game on top of all of the incentives that the Broncos have in general, which is you win, you're in, and how much of a fire you have, you're already going to know, again, the result of the Bengals game. If the Bengals win, then you're really in trouble. You got to win this. So it's going to be really interesting. This is a pleasantly, despite the fact that Chiefs are resting your starters, this is not a game where you can just that doesn't have any implications, I should say.
I'm actually very excited about this game. I really am.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Again, probably also because I'm going to lay some cheese on the line because I think that 10.5 is too much against this coaching staff for the Chiefs.
That's a good call.
You didn't get betting advice from me. It's just something I heard. In classic preview fashion, the matchup that matters to me, where this thing could really get out of hand for Kansas City, is they're already having troubles along their offensive line with all of their projected starters out there, right? I mean, Joe Thuney has moved from left guard out to left tackle because they haven't had any better options, right? I don't know if any of those three guys on the interior are going to start in this game. Now, of course, there's sort of like a formula where, all right, can you actually rest everybody? Do you have enough bodies for that? Maybe they don't. Maybe some of the guys need to play. I'm not sure. But that offensive line for Kansas City, however reserved it is, going up against a defensive line for the Broncos that is really dang good. And over the last month, they're second in the NFL in pass rush grade. That's going to be a mismatch no matter what. So the Denver defensive line could kind of be game wreckers against what would be a reserved Chiefs offensive line, or shoot, even if it was the Chiefs starting offensive line, we have seen them struggle throughout the season, especially at those offensive tackle spots. So to me, that's a big matchup that matters. It could totally swing things in Denver's favor. And then my plus factor is also Bo Nix, but it's more of his 3.4 big time throw percentage is the second lowest of any quarterback that would be going into the playoffs. So would love to see him open it up a little bit more here against the Chiefs, against their backups in the secondary, and especially at home with everything on the line. Can we get a couple of big time throws in here for Bo Nix? Because I do think that where this team isn't necessarily built on Nix just chucking it down the field all the time, you have to hit him to make runs in the postseason. So for me, for as good as Denver's defense is, as much as I have faith in a lot of those defensive players that they have there, and as much as I think the offense has played better than a lot of people expected, you want to make a run in the AFC, you've got to be able to throw the ball deep down the field with somewhat regularity. So can he do that as a little bit of practice here with some pressure on the line? I'd love to see that from him. So there we go. Anything else? Moving on.
Yeah, we're excited for this.
All right. Moving on. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can come one today.